Welcome back to Kryptolytix, giving a fresh take on crypto analytics. Today, I'm going to do another crypto recap. So let's get straight into it, shall we? Okay, so not much has changed since the last video. We're still sitting at the mid band on the SMMA VWAP bands. Again, these are strong resistance levels as per previous cycles. Currently, this middle band is sitting at around 53K, which is a significant level because it's a round number. And it also lines up with this structure high here, just a tiny little one here. This is a weekly chart though, but it lines up with this structure high here and this structure high here, which was kind of a mini head and shoulders really, because you've got your left shoulder, head, and then right shoulder, sort of. You want to draw it like that, it doesn't really look like it, but I think you get the idea. So there's structure there as well. So these two sort of levels are lining up. And the next resistance will be, I guess, this structure here that also lines up with the top band as well. So we're getting so close to the top of the 2021 bull market, and retail isn't even here yet. When you look at social metrics, when you look at everything like that, retail's still not here. There's, the absolute retail parabola that generally comes when everyone just starts buying. Well, we just haven't seen that just yet. So it's pretty impressive that we are where we are, given the circumstances and where we are in the cycle. So let's have a look at a few things and see what other people are seeing as well. And I'll show you a few cool projects that I found in the last few days. So before I hit X, I will quickly show something cool that has just been added to coinglass.com. So CoinGlass is a really helpful tool that shows a lot of on-chain metrics for Bitcoin and other assets. So I'm sure you've seen this before, or maybe you haven't, but this is a liquidation heat map. So this shows some of the key levels where people's liquidation price points are sitting at. And the only other tool that has anything like this is Highblock Capital. Now, Highblock Capital has a monthly subscription fee, and if you can't really justify spending the money on that, that's completely fair. Now, these guys have actually added their own liquidation heat map, which is really cool. So you can go by Bitcoin by default, and you can bring down to Bybit, OKX, BingX, so on and so forth. Or you can just collate all of them together and just click symbol. And this will just give a total of everything in the market right now in the last 3 days. So the biggest point of liquidations is there's about 407 million sitting at a price point somewhere that would be right here above. So if you are a liquidity trader, then naturally your thought will most likely hit that point. So what does that mean when we have this massive pocket of liquidations above? It means people are opening up shorts. And I think this is because there seems to be some bearish sentiment going around. You got Capo coming back, Gareth Soloway shorting, even though he's been holding a short since 30K, I think. So, I mean, if he hasn't liquidated by now, or if he didn't stop out, then, I mean, he's pretty underwater, I suppose. I hope he stopped out. Never talks about stop losses though. But anyway, you can essentially adjust to the 3-day, which is 3 days worth of price action. And based on that volume and the direction, it works out where those liquidation levels will be based on 50x, 10x, 100x, 75x, so on and so forth. You can come down to 12 hours, so you can see with some recency bias. More so if you want to do some short-term sort of trades. So the biggest is 18.3 million, which I believe is below. So people will have been opening up longs, and then I see 15 there. And that's where the yellow is. So I think it's there, but yeah, anyway, I like 3-day, and I also like the Model 2 because it smooths it out and makes it look nicer, which is a little bit shallow, but I like things that are aesthetically pleasing. So here we go. This seems to group a lot more sort of price levels together and smooths it out a lot more. So you've got, instead of, just one hot area of 400 odd million, it's showing it an area where there's a really high amount of liquidation. So above we have about 1.15 billion, and below we have about 1.17. So it's kind of equal, really, when you look at it like that. Pretty interesting that Model 2 shows it slightly differently. You can come down here and read how it all works. And this point here is exactly why you would use the liquidation levels, is because price often gravitates or acts like a magnet towards these points. In order for large orders to be filled, they require large amounts of liquidity. So they'll often have their orders sitting at typical stop loss levels and liquidation levels. So pretty cool tool. If we come back to 1 week, we can have a look and see where the hottest point of liquidity is. So we got somewhere on the chart here, we got 3.21 billion. So I would say that's down here at around 47K. And we've got, wow, we've got 3.21 here. That's crazy. $3.21 billion in liquidations, sitting at around the 51K mark. And we've got about 2 billion above. So honestly, there's just so much more liquidity to the downside. There's a big empty space here though. So if we did come down, it would probably be a slower trickle because we don't really have that momentum ignition to really push price down unless there's a black swan or something important. But anyway, just thought I would show you that. So if you've been seeing liquidation heat maps on videos and like, oh, I wish I had access to that. Well, now you've got it for free. So there you go. Just go to coinglass.com and check out the liquidation heat maps there. So I have a pretty handy tool or something that's worth checking out if you're checking or keeping track of a whole bunch of different Solana altcoins. So on Bird Eye, if you create an account, it's free to create an account. You can also pay for one as well, but I don't see any of the paid features being that beneficial at this point, but there's a watch list. So the way you get to it is you just come over to terminal and click watch list, and any ticker that you've starred, like for example, if you tick on the star here, when you go into something, it creates a watch list for you. So if you're watching a whole bunch like myself and you want to know what the performance has been like in the last day, you can just click 1 day and it shows as of 1 day ago from this time, what's the performance been like on your list. So you can come and see what have been the strongest performers in the last day. So you can come over here and you can see, okay, what seems to be doing the best. Okay, well, it looks like Dither has performed the best in the last 24 hours, followed by Wen and Bozo, but not Bozo Hybrid, because that's confusing. So Bozo Hybrid is the NFT token hybrid project, which is a really cool concept technologically, but it's already gone up tens of thousands of percent, so it's cooling off, that's for sure. There's also one called Bonk, which is just some random meme coin that I picked up at the start of last year. Nos, which is a really cool project akin to a little bit like Render, in that you can essentially rent the hardware resources of your unused hardware or your hardware's resources essentially for high intensive tasks. So I think you could call it something a little bit like a Render, and it has some AI applications and stuff as well. And Kin is another one that I picked up at the start of last year, which has performed very well. I think it's up about 700% from when I bought it. So those are the top performers today, and everything else is, well, definitely taking a breather. That's just kind of something handy to look at. You can even go 7 day and see what's performed well in the last 7 days. Looks like Dither's been smashing it, absolutely smashing it. So I guess you might be wondering then, what is Dither? Why is this doing so well? Well, I'm glad you asked, even if you didn't. So Dither is a time series model. So it uses open source AI models and has using them to train to try and predict future price action for meme coins. At least they're starting off with meme coins, and I believe they're going to branch off to sort of more picks and shovels and top tier coins later. But they're starting off with meme coins because they do kind of move in a nice way. Very clear trends a lot of the time, and kind of obvious turning points with regards to recovery, and very typical blow off top formations that create the start of corrective moves, generally speaking. So if you want to know what the time series model is, it refers to a statistical model that uses historical data to predict future values. In Dither's case, the model is trained on data specifically from memes or meme coins, which are considered to be a good indicator of culture and social sentiment. Public blockchains and training data. The transparency and accessibility of data on public blockchains like Solana allow for the creation of large and diverse data sets, which is crucial for training complex AI models. Dither mentions its connection to open source AI models, but it's unclear how exactly this plays into their narrative. Open source AI generally refers to models and algorithms that are freely available for anyone to use and modify. So your ChatGPT, for example, there are free versions of ChatGPT out there. For example, there's one built into Brave browser, for example, that uses open source AI models, and it trains just based on the content of the page. Whereas your LLMs like ChatGPT are trained on big data, like really big data comparatively. So here's another explanation of the Dither system, and this is Bookman's take on it. So time series prediction is like playing a game of guessing what comes next. For example, you see a picture of a hatching chicken, I guess this is, then a chick is next, then a fully grown chicken. And guess the next picture will be, well, that's a fully grown chicken? I don't know. This person's using this is like if you ask ChatGPT to explain a concept like I'm 5. So there you go. Maybe that's what he did to come up with this. So I reposted this on X if you want to go through his breakdown of it. This one I have bought, but I bought it pretty high, so I'm pretty late to the party, to be honest. I did see it a few days ago and posted about it, but I actually did not take action at the time. If we have a look at the chart, well, no, it's just been an up-only affair. I mean, have a look at here. This is where it started, kind of going up. This is where it broke structure on the 7th of Feb, and it's done about 2,500% ever since. So I think I found it, or I first read about it a couple of days ago when it was here, but I didn't even look at buying it at the time because I was busy, but here we go. It just kept going up and up and up. So there won't be any airdrops, by the way. So if you're hoping for something, then unfortunately it's not on the cards, but it is an AI narrative coin, and you can come over and give them a follow if you want more information or updates on what they're up to, because we had Sora release recently, which is the new text-to-video model by OpenAI, who are the creators of DALL-E, who recently created DALL-E 2 and ChatGPT. So this looks phenomenal. And people were comparing it to this Will Smith video, which I'm going to say looks absolutely hilarious whenever I see it. I saw it last year as well, and it just had me in stitches. But this looks phenomenal. I don't think that's a fair comparison between the Will Smith video. I'll show you in a sec. So I guess it was technically 1 year ago, so that's why they're making comparison. This looks out of control. Oh, every time I see this video, it just has me in stitches, seriously. It looks like an alien eating a pizza, or is eating pasta, I don't know. Anyway, so this is what people are comparing it to, but I'm going to make a better comparison. So this is a video I made for my music project, and you'll see that this one looks a lot cooler. So it's just like some skull robots. Essentially, I took the artwork from the release and I made all of these things from it, essentially. So I won't put the music on because it's really loud and intense. You get the idea. It's like Terminator robots. Admittedly, this took a lot of footage to get it to look any good, but in this one I had to reverse because the motion was all weird. Spaceships don't look very nice, so we'll see if those look better. Because things that fly and spaceships and stuff look terrible. For Sora, I actually did this myself, so that wasn't part of the AI. You see there's a lot of weird morphing. Again, this explosion I did myself. But you get the idea, right? So some pretty cool stuff. Really quite creative and still pretty cool. But yeah, these spaceships don't look very good, in all honesty. But still, like, you know, I think that's pretty cool, to be honest. So yeah, the Will Smith is probably a bit of a troll, if I'm honest. But anyway, with this coming back into the fray and AI sort of making a reappearance into the zeitgeist of narratives, I feel like some of the AI tokens will probably start pumping. That could be why Dither has started pumping the way it has. I think it's just a really cool concept. So they've got a token, but what's the point of it is the question. So at this point, what I can see is the rollout premium Sia bot. So the Sia bot is this one here, another Telegram trading bot with AI. I know. AI is hyped. What is it doing with the crypto bros and gals? Well, the Dither project has a SOTA time series model trained on open source meme coins. Apparently it benchmarks as well as Google, not as good as Google. I saw some of the open source data that they were using to train it on, and it's already live by the looks of things because it says February 15, 2024, and it's a Telegram based bot. So it's looking like premium Sia bot tiered based on Dither holdings. So there you go. Auto trading bot based in the Dither ecosystem. So this has got quite a lot of potential, I suppose, as far as the bots are concerned, because I've looked at some of these Telegram bots and I don't see any really cool trading features. As in, they're like, oh yeah, we'll buy the token or whatever, or we'll sell the token from Telegram. I'm like, okay, big deal. I actually want a proper bot, something that can buy and sell at good times. Like that to me makes the most amount of sense. Maybe the bots do that, but so far from what I've seen, most of the bots that I've used, all they do is buy and sell on Telegram. That doesn't appeal to me at all personally, because I prefer to trade on a computer. Unless it's an actual bot that can trade for me, I'm all for it then. So maybe these guys actually will be doing something like that for meme coins. So I think that's pretty cool. Buying a token that's already pumped 2,000%, well, you know, do that at your own risk. But I have already put 100 bucks, 4,000%, sorry, or maybe 5,000% closer to. So do that at your own risk, but I'll be definitely DCAing into this one because, well, at this point, you're pretty much buying a top. But if we stabilize, then I think it'll probably be well worth it. So next up, we're going to have a quick look at Jupiter. So on my X, I posted a 2-second TA for Jupe. And this is what I'm looking at. So a hold above this level at 60 cents is when I think we're going to really run. Unless we create a new structure high and lower low, then it will be this will be the next structure to break. So that's my 2-second TA. Cozy has made a prediction that if Jupe starts trading between 60 and 70 cents, again, that works in correlation to this. massive shorts start piling up, and funding turns heavily negative. Well, it's a very detailed prediction. We liquidate all those shorts into a massive short squeeze up to $1 plus. Well, we'll have to see, right? Speculation. We all love to have a bit of fun with a bit of speculation. That's what basically crypto is, to be fair. It's all speculation. We did get a breakout on the 4-hour super trend, admittedly, but it hasn't been that convincing. It's sort of just sold back off. Hasn't quite touched the bottom line yet, but that's kind of what I'm watching for. And I'll probably start buying more once we get a convincing break of structure. But we do have a higher low currently, so that's definitely a good sign. We do have this trend line to compete with as far as I'm concerned. And unless we break this and hold above here, then I think that we could still keep potentially putting in lower lows, or we just stabilize here at this base here. So we'll have to see how that goes, but I'm still very bullish on Jupiter for the upcoming bull run. So I've only sold a little bit of mine, and I will buy a whole bunch back once we stabilize and start progressing past the bearish structure above. The next Solana token I wanted to have a quick look at was WEN. Now there's so many to look at, so I won't look at them all. I'm just going to cover a couple and move on. So the 2-hour super trend was right here. It acted as support briefly and then broke down below and has now come to the 4-hour. 4-hour is probably a bit more important to hold, and it looks like it touched it perfectly, and it bounced straight off it and went on to put in a 40, almost 50% price move to the upside, where we are now consolidating. But in terms of the lows to the recent pump, about 200%, which is really impressive. So if you were buying down here, which a lot of people were, at least I was seeing the diamond hands meme coin influencers on Solana, at least, were just buying down here, akin to how they just keep buying Bonk. Well, they had some nice reprieve here with that roughly 200% move to the upside. So we're now putting in a lower high to this here, so we haven't really broken this. And this structure is the big structure to break before we start actually making significant price moves. So we're still, it does look better. I'll give it that. But until we start to sort of break some more of this structure here, then I think this still has potential of coming down more, but we'll have to see. If the market enters another bullish leg, then, well, these are just going to run up. That's just what happens. People like to throw their money at meme coins because they go up 100%. It's basically spot leverage. So it's non-liquidatable spot trading, which is why meme coins are cool. Plus the community aspect is pretty powerful. Fading meme coins is kind of a mid-curve move. I mean, they can go to zero or they can just go absolutely parabolic. So I think it's always worth at least discussing them and keeping them on our radar. And as I mentioned before, Nosrala's been doing relatively well, still holding its super trend. So we'll have to see how that goes. This one's super trend has been really clean. So, I mean, selling here and buying back here is not the best, but it does protect you from a lot of downside potential, or if it does enter a phase like this. But it hasn't actually entered one of those phases, so I can't even show you yet. We haven't really had any decent corrections on this. It's just sort of gone up and then track sideways and up and then track sideways. So it's doing pretty well. In my last video, I covered the mantle trade, so that went up 20%. But like everything with regards to how I trade these tokens, because I've got so many that I kind of need a mechanical trading structure just to make sure I don't end up holding them to zero, or not to zero, but throughout massive corrections. I ended up selling it at a 10% profit. So now I'm currently holding the MNT in the Ondo stablecoin. So that's a yield bearing stablecoin. The ticker is USDY, and I took profit into this because it just generates yield essentially. I mean, you can see here, if we have a look at the daily chart, it's gone up in the last couple of days. It's gone up 0.05%. Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's not that impressive, I suppose. It's a bit more like the stock market, but at least it's there's some yield being baked into me holding a stable coin. So I'm kind of happy with that. So if this breaks back up, then I'm going to buy it back essentially. And yes, obviously I could have made an extra 4% by holding onto it, but you can also save yourself like 13% in some circumstances, or 10%, or very high amounts by selling it at these points and then buying back lower. So I was actually out of town when this happened, so I bought it back here and I ignored these two signals. So that's why this was just a loss, if you will. It's not really a loss, because if you were just holding it the whole time, it'd be essentially the same sort of thing. But you can see most of the time there are wins, the occasional small loss, you could say. But overall, I've got more MNT, like a few hundred more MNT by trading it rather than just holding on to it. So that's why I trade it. And it's just a signal that comes through and I act on it. And then I get butter points for swapping and sometimes free mantle tokens as a result of it. So that's done. Phantom came out with a post and thread here. Something definitely worth looking over. That's some of the scams that are sort of coming out. A lot of these random NFTs and tokens that you get in your wallet. So this is something to read over if you're not so familiar with the operational security in crypto and you're kind of new to it. Then I think that's probably something worth reading and something worth looking out for. Personally, what I do is I just burn mine whenever I get a random NFT drop into my wallet. And I showed it on a few videos ago how you can burn and reclaim some rent sometimes on your Solana scam NFTs and stuff, but a lot of them are using compressed NFTs now, which you don't really get any rent back for. So it's kind of annoying because before at least you could get some money back. So even though it was a scam NFT, you would be able to get a little bit of SOL back, but now they use CNFTs and CNFTs don't really have any rent. So it's a bit of a shame. At least before we were making a little bit of money from it, but now we don't get anything, unfortunately. Something that I saw on the weekly chart for Solana, which again, as I said in this post, it probably means nothing, but we got a Pi Cycle top. Hasn't actually printed yet, but let's see if I can bring that up on the chart. Okay, so here it is here. So you can see the Pi Cycle bottom didn't really do very well, and the Pi Cycle top didn't pick a top here either. I think there just wasn't enough data yet though for it to actually pick a top or anything like that. So that's probably the reason why we didn't exactly see anything the last time. But if we just have a look at the moving averages, we can see that they are currently crossing. So there you go. Again, might not mean anything. The Pi Cycle bottom definitely didn't mean anything there because, I mean, Solana went down an additional 268%. So not so sure that worked out. But anyway, just thought that was kind of interesting. I was like, wow, that's something we haven't seen before. So I posted this chart yesterday before we actually came down here. So this is kind of my suspected path for SOL at the moment. And if we come onto the actual chart, we can see we're sitting right on the average true range line. This is either a point to add to your position or long. This is a dip to buy, so to speak. Or if we break down below that and close, then there's a higher probability that we're going to start seeing some of these lower levels. At the moment, we've got the 50 EMA on the daily. Again, this is the daily MAs on the 12-hour chart. Is currently sitting at around $97. And then the 100 period moving average on the daily, and this is an EMA, is sitting at around 85. And coming down here, we wouldn't technically be breaking structure as we have a low here, and that would technically still be a higher low. So if we did come down there, I personally see that as a dip buying opportunity because overall we're still relatively bullish, but the trend is a little bit tired. So, you know, we could be entering sort of a chop consolidation period or a sideways period, but altcoins can still put in much nicer trends and they can still go up nicely and down nicely, which is why as far as trend trading goes, generally altcoins are much better to trade because Bitcoin on low time frames just goes sideways, and unless you've got a strategy that works really well for it, which generally isn't a trend-based strategy, then that's why altcoins are a much better bet. Although if we get this shape here, look at that will be a head and shoulders, right? But anyway, I don't really trade head and shoulders and whatnot. And the upside target is the 50% wick fill here. That's what I've put here, and that's the 1, 2, 3 level. Nice round number. So we'll have to see what comes first, right? Something that I saw that I thought was pretty cool is that Injective has announced that users can now use INJ to attain .sol domains. So this is the SOL domains, and use them across Solana dApps and bridge in their SOL domains onto Injective. So I don't know if this is true, but maybe Phantom will be integrating into Injective. So currently I use Kepler Wallet for Injective, but it'd be pretty cool if Phantom could be used for Injective. Like that would make Injective way more accessible to a lot more people because a lot more people have Phantom. Obviously the biggest wallet is MetaMask. So that's your ETH, your EVM, your L2s, all that sort of stuff. But I would say that Phantom is probably a close second, which means that Injective will be a lot more accessible to more people. So that would be pretty cool. And you can come and click on the blog if you want to read all of the details, but I won't go through it in this video. But you know, maybe you want to do a deep dive on it and figure out what it's all about. So you can go to my X, link in the description below, and find that post if you wish to get this link. Another cool project that's looking to launch soon on the LFG launchpad, that's Jupiter's launchpad, is CLN, or Clone. It's looking like these guys are working on cloning tokens onto the Solana ecosystem. I'm guessing bridging over wrapped version of assets or something to that effect. So it's pretty cool. We already do have some wrapped assets on Solana, but not that many. So I'm guessing these guys are looking to build it out with a lot more, and they will be launching soon on the LFG launchpad. So that's something that I'll probably participate in because I like the idea of it. They also recently did a poll and asked, out of these 3 tokens, Sui, Injective, or Say, what would you like? And people overwhelmingly voted for Sui. So there you go. Personally, I prefer to hold the pure form of the asset. Reason being is so I can stake it and do stuff on DeFi with it. But if you just want to buy the token and be exposed to its price appreciation, or depreciation, of course, then essentially you can just do it straight from your wallet on Solana. So pretty cool. These guys are looking to do something along those lines and probably using the Pyth Oracle to peg price to. So there you go. It's pretty cool, I think. Something I thought was quite interesting and a little bit random and surprising was the Bonk token and project have partnered with Revolute, the app. So Revolute's a massive finance app, a bit like Square or something like that. But you can also buy assets in the app as well. And I don't know, I'm actually a little bit surprised that something like Bonk, with a name like Bonk, has been able to get pulled into something like Revolute, but I guess they've got other crypto tokens as well. They do have Dogecoin, so I guess there's that, but Dogecoin is kind of like the Bitcoin of meme coins, I suppose, although they don't have ordinals. So Doge is kind of like, I think there is Doge chain though, but it's not exactly the same as Doge itself. But anyway, so you can get Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polygon, Solana, Doge. There's definitely others as well. These are just sort of the top tier ones. It offers 80 crypto tokens at the moment. So there you go. They've added Bonk to their list, or they will be adding Bonk to their list. So that's pretty good for Bonk. Also, TVL and Solana is actually currently hitting levels we haven't seen since mid-2022. So that's the bear market in 2022, where we really fell from grace. But this is all natural, organic TVL, not the double counting like the Mechalina brothers were helping facilitate. This is all natural TVL, so love to see it, right? Solana's on the up very slowly. It's got a very hard road to get back to its all-time highs, but nevertheless, it's still a good sign. And we have a potential airdrop that will be very undiluted because not that many people are using this platform. This is Flash, so I've been using this to trade foreign exchange just for fun, and just so I can maybe get points. I haven't seen any point system yet, but I'm sure that they will probably have one soon because everyone seems to be doing point systems. But it's pretty cool. So it's a perps trading platform on Solana, and you can trade Sol, Bitcoin, Ethereum, gold, silver, Euro USD, Great British Pound USD, AUD USD, which is really cool. So, and it would use the Pyth Oracle most likely to get those prices, because those are definitely price feeds that Pyth offers. They also have a FLP, which I looked at the performance on it and it's kind of been stuck in a sideways trend, but this is a bit like the JLP. So that's the Jupiter liquidity pool token, which is a really good savings account. And what do I mean by that? So if you're holding stable coins and you're not doing anything with them and they're just sitting there in stable coins, I do recommend using something like JLP, because JLP is just an up only affair. You know, if you go back far enough, let's just say you bought at the start of the year, like $100 worth of the JLP. We can go here, the first. It's currently up, not crazy, but it's up. Yeah, that's pretty good. 19%. I think the APY on the JLP is about like 170% APY or something like that. So that's really nice. And that's because a lot of people are using the perps on Jupiter. So if this Flash trading platform catches on, then that means the FLP might do well as well. Currently it's at 1065, but we don't really have anything. It's just kind of going sideways at the moment. So it says 60% APY, but I don't see that, at least on the price chart. So I think it's just because it's a really underused platform. But if people start catching on to this for airdrop farming, then I think you'll start to see a bit more volume go through the platform. And with regards to the foreign exchange, you can actually use up to 200x leverage, which might sound like a lot, but remember, foreign exchange only goes up like 0.1%, basis points. It's usually measured in. A lot of the time they measure in pips when it comes to trading. So I thought this was something worth mentioning. So if you're so curious and coming from TradFi and want to look for a decentralized way to trade normal currencies, then this platform is pretty cool. And if you click the link here in my post, you can use the referral code here and save 5% on fees. That's not my referral, that's someone else's. So I'm not just shilling it. I just think it's a cool platform and something I thought that some of you might be interested in, but I don't know how to make my own referral code. So someone else can get the money, that's fine, or whatever the bonuses that they get for it. But yeah, again, potential airdrop right here and undiluted because not that many people are using this platform. So something that's worth a watch. We had another Injective burn yesterday. So to date, over 200 million in Injective has been burnt, and they added an additional 6,200 to this amount. So there you go. Injective are looking to remove tokens from supply. It hasn't really done anything to price though. Created this spike to the upside, I think. So there you go. This has been chop central for a while. And again, this is just another one of the super trend strategies that uses the HeikinAshi candles, which historically was doing really well, but has just kind of entered a really kind of weak point where price is kind of chopping around sideways. So a lot of the Injective that I have made from selling it, I'm slowly giving back, but that's okay. I'm still up overall, so that's fine. But yeah, that's just kind of what I'm seeing. I think this was the burn here maybe. So that created a 7% price move maybe, I'm not really sure. But nevertheless, it's always nice when projects remove tokens from supply because a lot of cryptocurrency supplies are quite high. So it's kind of nice when they remove them because when demand kicks in, then that should have an impact on price. So that's it for today's video. Hope you liked it. If you did, then please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this, and hit that bell notification if you want to be notified when videos come out from me. Overall, Bitcoin is just kind of consolidating at the moment. We did have a pretty decent move to the upside, so I guess we're cooling off after like a 22% move up, which is completely fair. Buying pressure has dropped off just a little bit for now. We'll have to see if that comes back in, but we are starting to put in bearish divergences on momentum oscillators. So that's something to consider. And that's why I say that the trend is starting to look a little bit exhausted. So keep safe out there. This is Kryptolytix signing out. Have a good one.